Step into the ring, fans. It's main event reports, bringing you all the latest from WWE. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started. Sometimes the smallest moments in wrestling create the loudest echoes. On a recent episode of Monday Night Raw, a quiet backstage interaction instantly became a flashpoint for debate, speculation, and emotional tension. One gesture, simple, deliberate, and symbolic, shifted how fans viewed three interconnected characters. Rhea Ripley handed Dominik Mysterio a flower. Liv Morgan watched. Nothing else needed to happen. No punches were thrown. No words were exchanged. Yet the reaction was explosive. This wasn't accidental or meaningless. WWE thrives on subtext, and this moment was layered with history, unresolved conflict, and unspoken intent. What looked harmless carried emotional weight built over years of storytelling. This breakdown explores why that single gesture mattered, what it revealed about each character, and how it could quietly shape one of Raw's most personal storylines moving forward. A backstage moment that stopped everything. The scene unfolded quickly and without warning. Rhea Ripley approached Dominik Mysterio backstage and handed him a flower while Liv Morgan stood nearby. There was no dramatic music cue, no confrontation, no follow-up explanation. Yet the cameras lingered just long enough to capture Liv's reaction, and that reaction changed everything. WWE rarely commits airtime to moments without purpose. This wasn't filler. It was narrative placement. The silence made it louder. Fans immediately understood that what they were seeing mattered, even if they didn't yet know why. The power of the segment came from restraint. WWE trusted viewers to read expressions, body language, and history. In doing so, they transformed a harmless object into a loaded symbol and turned a backstage hallway into the center of the night's conversation. The history between Ripley and Dominik. To understand why this landed so strongly, context is essential. Rhea Ripley and Dominik Mysterio share one of WWE's most complicated recent histories. Their alliance was never simple. Ripley alternated between protector, enforcer, and emotional anchor for Dom. At various points, her admiration for him crossed into something more personal within storyline framing. She spoke about calming her aggression, grounding her chaos, and seeing value in him when others mocked him. That history matters. It wasn't erased when Dominik turned away. It was buried. When Dom betrayed Ripley and aligned with Liv Morgan, it wasn't just a shift in allegiance. It was a personal rupture. The flower reopens that wound. Whether intentional or not, it reminds everyone that what ended between Ripley and Dom was never resolved. SummerSlam's shadow still looms. Dominik's betrayal at SummerSlam reshaped all three characters. Helping Liv Morgan defeat Rhea Ripley and then openly celebrating with Liv cemented his new direction. It wasn't subtle, it was definitive. That moment reframed Ripley as discarded and Morgan as chosen. WWE made sure the audience felt that shift. But betrayal in wrestling is rarely final. It lingers. It informs future interactions. When Ripley handed Dom the flower, the memory of that betrayal rushed back into focus. WWE didn't need to replay footage or recap history. The gesture did the work. It forced fans to remember what was lost, what was taken, and what might still be unresolved. The past wasn't referenced, it was activated. Why a flower is never just a flower in wrestling. Objects carry meaning far beyond their physical value. A chair is violence, a contract is control, a gift is intention. Flowers, in particular, occupy a strange space. They can represent affection, apology, mockery, or dominance depending on context. Given Ripley's persona, the softness of the gesture immediately felt wrong, and that's why it worked. It disrupted expectations. WWE has long used non-combat props to deepen emotional storytelling. This flower wasn't about romance on the surface, it was about intrusion. Ripley entered Dom and Liv's space and altered the emotional temperature instantly. Whether the intent was sincere or sarcastic, the result was discomfort. "That discomfort is storytelling fuel," Liv Morgan's reaction said everything Liv Morgan didn't need to speak. Her expression did the work. The irritation was immediate and unfiltered. This wasn't jealousy played for comedy. It was offense. WWE framed Liv as someone whose authority, emotional and relational, had been challenged. As the established partner, she reacted not with confusion, but with threat recognition. That matters. It suggests she interpreted Ripley's action as intentional, not harmless. In storyline terms, Liv saw a boundary crossed. Whether she believes Ripley still has feelings for Dom or is simply asserting psychological dominance, the effect is the same. The moment planted insecurity. A WWE thrives on that kind of tension because it forces characters to reveal priorities under pressure. Mockery or emotional testing. Two interpretations dominate the discussion, and WWE likely intended both to coexist. The first is mockery. Ripley offering something traditionally gentle to someone who betrayed her could be a calculated insult, a way of saying, "I still have access to you." Delivered in front of Liv, it becomes layered provocation. The second interpretation is more dangerous, emotional testing. Ripley may be challenging Dom's loyalty, seeing whether he reacts, hesitates, or feels anything at all. That ambiguity is powerful. WWE doesn't rush answers when emotion is involved. Leaving intent unclear invites audience investment. Fans debate not just what happened, but what it meant. That's how long-term stories stay alive. Dominik Mysterio as the wild card. Dominik's role in this triangle is crucial. His reaction, or lack of one, adds tension. Dom has built his current persona on opportunism and emotional vulnerability. He aligns where he feels accepted and protected. That makes him unpredictable. Does the flower embarrass him? Comfort him? Tempt him? WWE hasn't shown his internal response yet, and that restraint is intentional. Dom thrives in chaos, and WWE understands that his loyalty has shifted before. Whether he rejects Ripley's gesture outright or allows it to linger will determine how dangerous this story becomes. The uncertainty around his emotional alignment is the engine of the conflict. The power of non-violent storytelling. This segment worked because it avoided physicality entirely. No shove, no slap, no interruption. WWE allowed the audience to sit with discomfort instead of releasing it through action. That's difficult to pull off, and effective when done correctly. Wrestling doesn't always need combat to escalate stakes. Sometimes emotional intrusion cuts deeper. By using a symbolic act instead of violence, WWE added layers rather than spectacle. It encouraged viewers to think instead of react. That kind of storytelling doesn't burn out quickly. It simmers, and simmering stories often lead to the most explosive payoffs. Where this could be heading, several paths are now open. Ripley could escalate with more symbolic gestures, forcing Liv to confront her directly. Liv could strike first, framing Ripley as a threat to her authority. Dominik could be pushed to choose again, or pretend he already has. WWE could build toward a deeply personal singles feud, a mixed tag situation, or a longer psychological war with shifting allegiances. What matters is that the flower created options. It wasn't a conclusion, it was an opening. WWE planted a seed and trusted time to do the rest. Why this moment will matter later. Wrestling history is filled with moments that seemed insignificant until hindsight gave them weight. This could be one of those moments. WWE didn't highlight it because it was cute. They highlighted it because it reframes relationships. Ripley reminded everyone of shared history. Liv revealed vulnerability beneath confidence. Dom stood at the center of unresolved tension. This wasn't about romance. It was about control, memory, and pride. The flower will be remembered not for what it was, but for what followed. And when this story finally reaches its breaking point, fans will look back and realize it started quietly, backstage with a single deliberate gesture.